Good afternoon and good morning and good evening and good. Is there another time zone I've missed? Good middle of the
Mm,
night. If
I'm
you're up at
sure.
2 a.m., welcome to the team.
I'm
Um,
sure. I'm sure. Like hobbits, like in Middle Earth, have different names of different things. So you could go with like the Middle Earth times of the day. So
good
yeah,
11s is
good elevensies.
yes. Hey Pete,
How's it going, Paul? You all right?
I am good. I'm good. I'm sure that you've probably heard the same Hobbit trademark fact that I have recently.
Oh,
Have you listened
oh,
to
you're
the?
talking about. You're talking. You must be talking about Palantir. No.
No, no, no.
Yeah. Okay.
The No Such Thing as a Fish podcast that you got me onto.
Oh, I haven't followed it for a while. Has it?
So,
Was there like a Hobbit thing on there?
so they had Ella. I'm going to get her name wrong. Ella Al-Shami, I think it is, who's
Okay.
a paleontologist and archaeologist and anthropologist on, and she was saying that the word Hobbit is a trademark name, and that the Tolkien estate can be quite. If you use it in a marketing purpose, then they can be quite litigatory. So,
Actually, I do know that from many, many, many years ago, playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons in the 1980s. The reason Dungeons and Dragons calls them halflings is
oh,
because they can't call them hobbits because they don't have the trademark. And there was another role-playing game, I forget what it was called, that did pay the license to use it.
wow.
Uh, yeah, so there you go. Once upon a time, I gamed.
Well, I mean, there we go. There's a bunch of fun facts there
There you
for us
go.
all. So yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. Please drop us a comment to let us know where you're joining from. It's always good to see people join us. Pete, how have you been? Because it's been like a month since we've streamed, I think, because of
Yeah, it's been a
just
little while.
a few clashes. I've had a long weekend away seeing some family. We've had just life, the universe, and everything on. So what's new? What's
I
been going on?
traveling too, so yeah. And I guess should we do quickly introductions? My name is Peter
Yes,
Chittum, technical content director, Salesforce Ben, and
and sorry, and Paul. Yeah, I'm Paul Baddison. I am the host of Cloud Bytes TV, which you are obviously on, as you are well aware. I am the CEO of Groundwork Apps as well, which is a Salesforce ISV that makes some cool little apps. So yeah, so tell us where you've been, Pete. Where have you been? What have you been
oh,
up to?
when was our last stream? I'm trying to
I,
think.
yeah, I can go and find this a second. Let's have a look.
Yeah, because so I think we've already had one since I came back from Forcelandia. I recall
Yes.
having a chat about that,
Oh,
and
sorry,
then
three
yeah.
three weeks ago we had a stream with Andy. Andy joined us 3 weeks ago.
Right. And then, had I been to the Paris Developer Group? Because I did a
No,
little
you
stop
were off
there.
at Paris.
Yeah, right. So that was my most recent trip is, Fabien Taillon and the Paris Developer Group invited me to stop by. I did my, Making Sense of AI Models talk that I've done a few times now, and, managed to do it in French just about, although, like, it's I crammed trying to, like, last minute remember, like, all the different names of, like, like, machine learning is, l'apprentissage how is it? Automatique? L'apprentissage automatique, I think, right? So it's like automatic learning, which actually is more accurate a description, kinda now
Yes.
that I think of it. Um, but, like, there was one I just couldn't remember, and that is the cost function or error function.
Mhm.
Um, and then, like, because I forgot that, I forgot to talk about minimizing the cost function when you're doing, training, machine learning training. And then somebody very kindly in the audience made sure to point out that I didn't say that. And what's funny, it was on a slide. I just was like in French mode, and so I didn't read it. So I was like, "Thank you. Yeah, I didn't mean to say that." And then he also took the time to come up to me and make sure I knew all about the cost function as well afterwards. So, which is great. Like, getting feedback from the audience is like one of the best parts, like, of doing a talk like that. You learn so much. It was just a little, he was very keen to make sure that I got that cost function and minimizing the cost function thing into my head.
Yeah, just make sure. I had the same thing a few years back at London Schooling. I did a probably similar-ish talk where I showed a graph of like like a saddle graph, if you've probably seen them, where like it shows like the local minima and maxima and like
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was sort of talking through it. I had this formula on there about how you find it and all this stuff, and
Oh,
sort of
you're doing
linear.
gradient descent. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Fun.
I have written gradient descent algorithms in Salesforce before. Yeah, which
That's
is
impressive.
I mean, it's stupid. It's not impressive. It's stupid. Let's call it what it is, Pete.
I actually wrote out the gradient descent by hand, that algorithm, and like calculated it through a couple of times just to sort of like, okay, I never took calculus. Like I need to understand at some level how this things works
yeah,
so that, I never need to write it ever again because it's all in a library somewhere in Python, like PyTorch or whatever.
yeah.
But I still I felt like I needed to have the satisfaction of having at least like resolved that equation a couple of times before I, since then have now forgotten everything about
Oh
it.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so I was showing this thing and talking about like doing gradient descent and going down it. I had the formula. I was like, but we don't need to worry about this. Like for the thing, like skipped over it because it's a god awful formula. And yeah, similarly had someone come up to me afterwards like, so just want to explain to you how that. And I was like, dude, I did get a vibe. I was like, yeah, I do have a master's degree in mathematics. I can I am aware of how this works. Like I was just you just maybe don't want to go through that with the rest of the orders, but you do always get some helpful person that wants to
Yes. Yeah.
reiterate to you
Yeah. 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 I mean, 99% of the time it's great feedback,
yeah.
So
But you do
I
get
would say,
the odd one.
yeah. And I would say if you're ever in doubt and you want to ask a speaker a question, if you're in the audience, like do it, like have
Yeah.
that conversation. That's how you make connections. That's how you meet people. It's always worth it to make that connection, ask the question. And yeah, so
I,
despite my being a little bit teasing of this guy, it's a good thing.
the caveat I will add to that is always ask the question, never try and catch the speaker out. Like if
Yeah.
if you're like, and this is the way you can tell it is like we've all been in those talks where like if you want to ask like that's what the speaker wants. They want engagement, they want questions, they want to talk to you about things. But when you're trying to like, well, have you
Yeah.
done this? And it's like, yeah, do you know what? They probably have. They probably excluded it for a reason. Or if they haven't done it, they'll probably be like, no, I haven't. Anyway, move on. It's
Yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't need to be like a one-upmanship contest or anything like that, but make it a conversation. It's a way. It
exactly.
is a way to make a connection if done well.
So that sounds cool. Are you off to French Touch streaming at the end of the year?
I don't know. I should go back and check my email. It's been a few days since I've checked to see if I got a response for my application. And for that one, I've been talking about parallel platform event
Mhm.
subscribers. So I turned what was a webinar and an article into a little like 25-minute talk that I gave at the developer group in London
Mhm.
last week. And I think that'll be good for like French Touch streaming. They're all 30 minutes. They don't have any longer formatted talks. So I think that'll be a good one to take there and just have an opportunity to um, share that. It's a little quirky, kind of, well, not even quirky. It's a corner case feature, right? You're not going to use
Yeah.
it unless the volume of platform events is so high and you have an Apex subscriber that is kind of faltering under that volume. Like
Mm.
then it's a great feature, but like that's the use case. So it's not every customer, but still a good little talk.
Yes, that's cool. Yeah, I need to register to go to French Touch streaming. I have never been, so I
Ooh.
am going to try and make sure I can go along for a quick turnaround this year to go. Yeah, that sounds very cool. What have I done in the 3 weeks since we last
Yeah.
spoke?
Do
Um,
update. What's the update for you?
Trying to remember now because I've slept in that time, and so brain fizzes. Salesforce wise, just been doing a few bits and pieces, normal stuff. I have been working on another CRM.
Oh,
Yeah.
now, so you're cheating on
Oh,
Salesforce.
yeah, I'm cheating on Salesforce. Yeah, I've been working on my first HubSpot app,
Oh, wow. Okay. Very cool.
and it has been a very interesting development experience.
Now,
Like
what's
I
the
will,
development model like compared to Salesforce? I'm really curious to hear about that.
welcome to everyone who's joining us. Please say hello and let us know where you are from in the comments. It's great to have you here. Just if you are dialing in now, this is not a HubSpot podcast. We are going to be doing some Apex in a sec. We're just shooting the breeze. People are like, wait, what have they done? Yeah, so Salesforce obviously, and let's talk about like what is called a native app. Because with Salesforce, there's so many app models that it's a bit crazy.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
a native app is where you write all of your code. It's all hosted on Salesforce as you would with your normal in-org code. It's just in a package. Everything runs on the platform, and you might call out to another platform, but everything lives in Salesforce.
Right.
So you program in Apex and like JavaScript for Lightning Web Components. You have your UI, your data model is your Salesforce data model, and kind of that's it. It's what you would normally do as a developer or an admin anyway. You just have to bundle it up.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
HubSpot, you have effectively different options for what you build in your app. So you can have what are called app cards, which are like little pieces of UI that you insert. You can have workflow actions, which are, imagine them as like call outs in like a flow.
Okay.
And so like they call out to external system, and you can have a couple other bits as well. But yeah, there's like content management stuff as it has a really big CMS side.
So an app card is just a bit of user interface? Is that
Yes.
okay?
But it is just injected into the thing. And so everything you build on your own stack wherever you want. So I've been using TypeScript and Node.js because I'm getting a little bit into that TypeScripting world now. Which saw an old picture of an old joke the other day, which was just a really random thing that popped in my head. It was one of the London's callings. There's a picture of me asking a question in one of the panels, sat next to Rad Radkova, who is Cherry Hub team, and Anup, who you all well know, commented on this picture saying, pretty sure Paul was asking the question here. I've heard that JavaScript is like a scripty version of Java, how easy it is to use. Which obviously is very good. So I then replied, follow-up question, is it only TypeScript if I use a keyboard?
That's right.
So
that's super cool. So is it like injected into like an iframe, or is there something?
I've not done too much with the app cards yet. That's on my future roadmap. I've been working with the workflow tool.
Okay.
Fun things I've learned with the workflow tool. So like HubSpot doesn't really have the same idea of, it doesn't seem to have the same idea of bulkification as Salesforce does, which is both good and probably going to bite me in the backside at some point. So whenever you're building something as an ISV, or as a developer in general, but as an ISV, let's just say, you always expect things in batches of 200. So even on the flow side of things, when you call an invocable action, you have to make it use lists of things, right? With HubSpot, from my testing so far, it seems that even if you pass in multiple things into a workflow, it will just call your API as many times as you need to. Because, ouch, yes, but also like it's depending upon how you're using it, which I find quite interesting because, and it's one of those things I really need to really thoroughly test and check and like volume perform and things and performance test. But I kind of like it as well because it's like, okay, we're not going to try and abstract the difficulty from you. You deal with that because it's your API. Like you handle that how you are. And let's be clear, 90% of use cases we're working with, you're not doing 200. Like this is always one of those things I always found.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's I've written my own Node.js TypeScript server. I've managed to get it connected and working. It's been quite interesting. It's been fun doing some. I've been using Heroku because I'm very comfy with that. So it's been interesting.
So how are you going to solve that? Are you planning on, like, are you going to kind of like sort of collect those, those calls into a queue and sort of then like process them like through messaging? Or are you just going to like process them as they come in? Like how are you if you don't mind, like taking
Oh,
another couple minutes and like, I'd love to hear how you're thinking of solving it, since it's a software problem that's different from like what most Salesforce developers have to solve. Like be curious
yeah.
to hear your
So
thinking.
I don't know if you can see how well drawn up. This is me actually stood there last week on the whiteboard, going like, how the hell do I solve a problem like scaling? So because the app I'm building is it's a HubSpot version of my messaging made easy app for Salesforce. So Salesforce dead easy. I can call the APIs and they're working. It's great. With HubSpot, I've got to wrap the APIs in kind of Node.js and whatever to send them over. So effectively, my app is largely a translation layer of HubSpot to to my messaging platform, and that's how it works. So there's a couple of interesting things about it. So number one is that you don't have the same, and this is a key thing I think that Salesforce developers will really have to get their head around, is you don't have the same access to HubSpot like you do on Salesforce. So if something goes wrong, so my Salesforce version of this, I call an Apex function, it makes a call out. If it goes wrong, I still am sat there in Salesforce in my Apex and go, oh, this has gone wrong. I can return a message directly on the screen. I can like log an error. I can do whatever I want. Where I'm now an external app, I don't have direct access to that database. I have to request access via OAuth to that database. So I get my message to send this SMS, and that little block there kind of just shows you how quick it is. It's about like 120, 200 milliseconds. It's very quick to respond, like nigh on instantaneous. So I can process these one at a time in theory, but I've got to then think about what happens if I get 200,000 messages coming through at once. And that's where I've got like the interesting thing with Heroku and with Node is how you scale it out. I actually spent some time last week doing some Siege testing. It wasn't Siege I used, it was Bombardier, but or Bombardier, which is a CLI app where you just say, send 1,000 messages and you're allowed to send up to 100 at once or whatever and power them through. And it will tell you your throughput and how many errored and how many timed out and all sorts of things. So there's going to be a bit of it that's going to be tweaking that. And obviously, all I've done here is instead of actually sending messages and costing myself a fortune, I've just put like a wait in. Like, I put in a wait that's slightly longer than what the normal wait would be, so I could do it. But yeah, it's quite nice and interesting being back doing these sorts of problems. But I did originally I've got two versions of it in code at the moment. One which is just message comes into Node, I call out, I return, and I return back, which is great for error handling because if an error happens, I can then just ping back in the error and go, error happened. I've got another version where a message comes in, I stick it on an AMQP queue, on a message queue. So I've got effectively I've got a web worker front end. It receives it, goes great, drops it on the message queue and disappears. And then in the back end, there's another worker that goes away and actually receives the message and goes, aha, and then sends the text and then drops it back. That's great for going to like, 1,000,000 messages a second because you can scale out the workers and the web separately. The negative of that is what happens when there's an error. So when there's an error, I then have to send out another message to them write back to say there was an error. But like I'm out of context there, if you get me, because it's an asynchronous process. So you're on mute, Pete, if you were to say anything. But yeah, so it's
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So there's a lot of like interesting architectural and infrastructure problems around this, like that are going to be fun to solve and sort out. Like, but I have a happy path working, which I was like very pleased with. Now I need to do all the hard work of getting it to work and this is I think a really interesting thing that kind of feeds into a little bit of what we'll be seeing today. I had a partner reach out to me a few weeks ago saying like, hey, we've built this integration between Salesforce and another system for a customer. It works great. We want to turn it into a product. Would you like to work with us on doing that? And I was like, sure. How, like, let me see and they showed me the demo and I was like, great, you've built the happy path. I was like, and they're like, yeah, so could we just package that and sell it and I was like, what are you doing for billing? What are you doing for like onboarding? What do you,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much stuff that goes into like error handling. When you're dealing with one happy path, error handling is dead easy because
Sure. Yeah.
let's be frank, a lot of the time you can kind of ignore it and go like, it's working. Like, I'm just dealing with little thing. But it's when you then got 20 different possibilities and you're doing it at scale, and
Yeah.
it was I kind of had to sit there with them and say, you haven't thought about these 50 things. They're like, oh, and that's going to be quite expensive. And and I just, getting software to work is the easiest part of building a software product. Getting software to work as a product reliably and at scale is where you earn your money. It's
Right. How to fail, like, and not, fail elegantly, right? All of
yeah,
that stuff. Yeah.
and just not even just elegant failures. It's just there's like dealing with a trial process.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
really,
yeah. Like all the you mean the product, the packaging, all of that stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much dull stuff in there that you think like but like well solved problems. Like dealing with that. What do you do when someone's yeah? What do you do when someone's entered an incorrect? Because I had an error come through on my app this morning where someone was like, your app's not working, and they'd entered the wrong mobile phone number.
Mm.
They just entered. And they were just like, oh, well, we just put a test number in. We didn't think it mattered. I was like, why did you think it wouldn't? But that's the nature of kind of these things. Is you have to be aware that you're going to get some queries.
Yeah.
So yes, well,
So
as I
keeping
said,
on your toes, then, it sounds like.
it does, and it's cool and it's interesting and it's nice to be doing some real kind of big thinking stuff around how do I want this to work to scale out my Heroku dynos and all these other things as I go. Yeah. So this
Okay, I've
brings us
run out of
on.
focus.
Yeah,
Hello.
that's all right. You'll come back in a sec. So this brings us a little bit of a segue, I think, into what we're going to do today, in terms of how do we write things that both run quickly and also work properly. And let's go down here. So we were having a chat, weren't we, Pete, about what to do this week, and I thought it'd be fun for us to play some golf. So have you ever played Code Golf before or not?
I know of Code Golf, and I've seen other people do it, but I've not done it myself. And I mean, what I get of it is, it's, you're given a problem that needs to be solved in code, and then there's usually some gaming of that where, solving it with the fewest number of actual characters, like within the same programming language, or fewest like least resource usage, or like you're sort of optimizing it in some way, and that's like the contest part of it, is who can optimize it the best.
Exactly. So the reason that this was kind of top of mind is I've recently been watching there's another YouTube channel called Syntax FM. They've got a great podcast as well. The guys on Syntax it's three great web developers, one of whom is Wes Boss, who's done a lot of stuff around he's got some great web courses out and things like that, but they often do CSS battles together. And
Okay.
yeah, like CSS, I am atrocious at, but I love watching three very smart people be like, I'm going to use a radius gradient for it. And they'd be like, how? What? Like, how
Yeah.
are you? And, they'll do weird things like borders and shadows, and it's absolutely fantastic. So we might, one day, Pete, we might have to pretend we're good at CSS and try that and see how bad we do. But yeah. So there is, for normal programming languages, there is a bunch of things on the Code Golf website you can do, where you can do things like, given a list of all the CSS color keywords, print the hex value in the corresponding order. So you're given a list of words, and then you got to print the hex codes in the order that they come out of. So it's a two-parter of A, converting from a word to a hex code, and B, ordering them. And so you've got loads and loads of crazy weird things but some people are doing these things in absolutely 258 characters to do that in, and I'm like, how, where, what?
But I mean, usually there's, oh yeah, so in Python, you don't,
Yeah,
like, you can't really compare one programming language to another
no,
necessarily. Although I have seen that done, like in more of like a social post, like somebody be like, "Hey, I solved this in this programming language in this many characters. Like, can you do it better in some other programming language? Or like, what's
yeah,
the best you can solve it in this programming language?" So I guess I have seen it in that way, but it seems to be typically each challenge is based around a particular language.
Exactly. So with that in mind, rather than try and do these ones, which a lot of them are based upon things like CLI input and stuff like that, we are going to do some from ApexSandbox.io, which I hadn't heard of until today. So a shout out to ApexSandbox.io. And yeah, it seems to be a cool little site where you can have these little code golf problems. Let me just zoom in a touch.
Do we know
And if
anything
you've
about who's behind this?
I don't. It says here like the founders are Mehdi and Mediha,
Okay.
and I think there
Nice.
is.
There's a bunch of contributors. Sweet.
And there's a place you can go. So like there seems to be cool little place. Let's just see. So here's a bunch of people that built it. So yeah, looks very very cool. And there's a
I've
lot of
heard
people.
of Brooks. I can't think from where. I don't know that I recognize anyone else though.
No, neither do I. So a great bunch of people that are doing some awesome stuff though. So what I thought we could do is we won't do it in a developer org because I haven't got one free spare. I know I could just go and sign up, but I did build a Scratch org ready for this.
Okay.
So shall we just try a few of these in a Scratch org?
Yeah, sounds good.
So
try.
So here's our conundrum. So it's given a person's age, return true if the person is a teenager. So that is they are between 13 and 19. So we have a function called is teenager. 5 should return false, 15 should return true, and 21 should obviously return false as well. So I'm just going to go over to VS Code a second. I'm going to wait for Peter to comment on the fact that I'm in light mode.
I don't mind light mode. I mean, I don't use it. But honestly, for presentations, I kind of prefer it.
I switched recently because I've got a big window here with lots of light, and I found it so less difficult on my eyes. Anyway, I'm a heathen like that. So let's call this one teenager.
Or tenor, you know.
Teenager. So teenager.cls. Right, and we have a method which is public static boolean is teenager. I will learn how to spell teenager properly, and we have an integer of age. Perfect. And obviously, we have AI trying to help us. So let me just turn off disable agent force for developers, disable. Got anything else that's going to try and help? So we want to try and do these with no kind of AI.
You don't have GitHub Copilot on, do you?
No, it's turned off down there as well. So
okay.
All turned off, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we'll pretend we didn't see any of the answers they gave there. So
didn't see anything.
So what I think we're looking for then is, and the approach I think we could take here is, should we write, I know you're not meant to write, you can't write inline tests anymore, can you, on different API versions, but should we write a couple of tests and then we can go away and get this to run?
Yeah.
So there's our teenager class.
Up and, let me go and connect up to your session.
Teenager test. Cool. It is a test class. Cool. So at is test. No, not at industries digital lending. Private static. So should we test something like test under 13 returns false? And want to do system.assert dot is false. And want to do teenager dot is teenager 13 do 12. That should return. So that seem a reasonable test?
Yeah, I think we could probably do more of like a range, like less than, right?
What I was going to do is try and do a few. So in our test, we want to do one that's under, one that's
over. Yeah.
Because what I was going to show is that I think I've already got this to work. So my test passes, I think. Yeah, look at that. Because I've hard coded it to return false.
Yeah.
So we'll do that one. We'll do another one, which is why does industry difficult private static void test over 19 returns false. So this one should be 21. And then finally, we'll do test 16. It should return true. That seems to be correct, I think.
Sure.
So what I thought we could do is we could start with these. We can try and get them to work, and then this needs to be is true. Yeah. Cool. All right. So we have our base tests. We don't have our trailing bracket. We do now.
So is your idea to sort of start like with a call it a more simplistic approach to solving the problem, and then like paring the code down? You're not going just for like hole in one here.
No. I thought we could do is start off with getting it to work, and then just like see where we can trim things down. Because what I think is interesting as well is the idea of as we trim things down, what do we gain and what do we lose?
Right. So we could like solve it in a crazy way, like using switch.
Yes. So here's our three. Yeah. Here's our tests, and one of them fails as we expect. So let's go here. So obviously, one of the things we could do. So let's have I think we want a Boolean, which is teenager.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We start off with false. I mean, if we wanted to, we could do if age equals 1, then if age equals 2, but we won't. I don't think any of us are going to suggest that.
Yeah, I think we all know that that's a really bad approach. And we could try solving it in like the goofiest approach possible too.
So. I mean, the goofiest approach possible will be. What will the
I have an idea. Oh, I have an idea.
Okay. Go on, you've got control of the screen. Go for
it. So I would say Am I? Oh, I don't normally put a space in. It looks weird to me for some reason. It's not. Oh, there we go. String Boolean. No, integer Boolean is what I want.
Yeah.
I'll just replace that.
So while Peter's doing this, remember, if you're watching along, drop us a note, say hello, let us know where you're watching from, and let us know if you have any crazy ideas as well of how we could do this that's mad.
And then we could literally do a representation of every. So 1, comma, false, right? Because we want, if they are teenager, we want them to be true. I mean, this is definitely not going to win at Code Golf because, I mean, to do this, I mean, we're basically need every representation, right? I mean, should I finish? I mean, you get the idea of where I'm going.
I think, yeah. I mean,
do we just actually work and then like get the test to pass?
Yeah, go for it. Do you want to? I'll go from the bottom up. So how many lines have we got there? 27 to 5, so it'd be 22, I think. 6, 7, 8. I tell you what I'll do is I'll just put. Oh.
I'll come back to the 2, 3. I read my mind.
There you go.
All right, so there we go. But when we need teenagers, so here, if I do all the teens, then I can do true.
Awesome. All right, let me save that up.
All right. See, this would be me actually playing golf for real. Like I would hit like probably about 20 strokes just to get the ball off the tee.
There you go. I mean, so this is a working progress. There you go.
There you go.
So another interesting one I thought about is you could do it.
Should we run the test? Yeah, we're gonna run.
I've just run them. Yeah, they all passed you.
Okay,
yeah.
Sweet.
So right. it was a very quick set of tests. So like with Salesforce tests, you're used to sitting and waiting for 10 minutes for them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. So alternative option we could do here is we could have so.
I mean, if we really wanted to do that properly, we would put the age values in a custom object, load them with a SOQL query, and then we're off and running, right? So.
I mean, I've got a better one here, which is so we're in 2025. So
right. This I think I know where you're going.
And then integer adult. So it'd be 2025 minus 19, which is 2004. Yeah. And so
yes, that's right.
So what we want to do, and I'm going to make a comment here, is like NMB update these every year. So then what we would do is we would do return date time, so date dot now, date dot today dot year dot minus dot year minus age. Oh, so actually let's do so year integer birth year minus age, and we go if birth year is less than adult, return true. Oops, there we go. I mean, this has got to be the longest way of doing this almost, I think. Not, well, birth year is greater than child. Child year, even. This is how bad this is that I've done like 2 different naming conventions on the. And I mean, technically these are constants, so they should be like, you know, static final and everything else. Return true. Oh, actually, these are false, aren't they? There we go. Cool. I think that should work. So, I mean, this is obviously scalable, maintainable code. All you have to do is every year, someone New Year's Day just, oh, they failed. I tell you what I've done is I've got the true and the false the wrong way around there, haven't I?
Maybe there's too many logical leaps. I would probably just run it. That's how I would have worked it out.
There we go. Let's just rerun
Which
that.
in and of itself like says like
failed. What?
Oh. Say why?
Okay, come on. Now we've got to see what's going on here. So birth year is date.today.year minus age. So if birth year is less than adult year, so if they're over 2004, then we need to return false. So if they're younger than 2004, they'll definitely do that. If birth year is greater than, so less than or equal to
Mm.
Let's try that.
Okay. We've just encountered what I believe is known in the trade as an off by one error.
Yes. That's an arrow function, not that. Ugh. So let's just try that. That should also be false if they are born after that. All right, let's try this one. Okay, interesting. Let's.
It failed to run though. What's up with that?
That's, I think, just the way it says.
When it's failed. Okay.
Yeah. So look, 2 of them. It says 3 failed here, but actually 2 of them passed. So should return true for a 16-year-old. So it's. Oh, that one needs to be true there.
Oh yeah, there we go.
That's me not updating it. There we
I'm
go.
not doing a very good job of pair programming with you. Sorry.
I'm not doing a very good job of being able to count. So it's. Thus, we have it. There you go. We have it working out. We have.
Just as a quick fix, we could just switch the logic of, instead of hard coding 2011, we could basically take this.
Oh yeah, minus
right?
19.
And we could say, yeah, this one would be minus 12.
Minus 12, yeah.
12 or minus 13.
If it is 12 or under, so if it's that, you're at 12. Yeah.
Okay. And then this one would be the same.
Yeah, but someone's lost a job now, Peter, going in and updating this every year. You've just made someone unemployed. Think of their family. Think of the children. That should be 20.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
120. There you go. Right, so assuming this runs okay, we have written some possibly terrible code. I mean, not the worst code, I'll be honest. It passes.
Like if I had been judging this on the Salesforce Advanced Developer exam back when you had to pass an assignment, would I have passed them? I mean, I wouldn't have failed them for this, but I wouldn't be excited about passing, depending on the rest of the stuff, right? So
I mean, I think we can all guess though. The quickest way of doing this is
just a single Boolean statement.
Yeah. So we return that age is greater than or equal to 13, and age is less than or equal to 19. Is probably where we're both thinking this should really go, right?
Yeah, I mean that would be the natural place, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's a really common formula anti-pattern I've seen in Salesforce, where people who are kind of new with formulas, like they need a true false, and so they'll do if some condition, then they'll return true, and then false, where like if they just put the condition, it's going to return true and false. It's like a really easy thing to overlook, I think, when you're new to formulas. I've certainly seen it.
There is, what I will say though, is there is instances where, like, so this is a good topic of what I found just really funny, by the way, just there, when we ran this code. This takes, it's done it in 40 milliseconds now, but the last time it was 90 milliseconds, but when we had the much worse code that we wrote, it was only 75 milliseconds. So there was a period at which our code was running faster by checking the date.
Which one was 75? Was that the map, or was that one of the other ones?
That was the one we've got here. No, the 75 one was the math with the date in it in line at the top. You know what I mean? And then prior to that, when it ran, see, I mean, it was.
Well, the map is efficient. Is that the map?
No, the map is.
Okay. Oh no, that's there's a bunch of those runs. Yeah, I'm curious to see how efficient the map actually runs. It theoretically has more to do to materialize the actual map itself, right?
Yeah, the map was 43 milliseconds. I think that there's also. So one of the things that is very important to remember with Apex performance is that it is flaky as can be in trying to do it repeatably. And I know if anyone from the Apex team is listening and goes, "That's not true," you're right, it isn't true. But it is also true because, like, there's so much of it that is based upon. There's a portion of it I think it's based upon like how recently it's been used and all sorts of things like as to whether it's because it has to spin the class up and bring it into memory.
Right.
And so if you're calling the same class every 30 seconds, every 30 milliseconds, it will do it a lot quicker.
But Mitch and Dan, current product team for Apex, they know we have a huge amount of love and respect for them. So
yes, they're
absolutely
two of the smartest people out there working on things. But they also, I mean, it's not them. It's the nature of the platform.
Yeah, it's not Apex, it's the platform, basically.
Yeah. So interesting. One of the things I was going to say, when you're saying about that anti-pattern here. So one of the things that I sometimes do is if let's just say that we were trying to, let's just say we had multiple pieces of Boolean logic here. And when you get like 3 or 4 and it starts to get like over here on the, when we're kind of getting over to this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Joe, this is quite easy because age is greater than or equal to 13 and age is less than or equal to 19 are pretty understandable to read. But when it's something like where account dot my account dot this underscore field C equals this, and like that, what I actually find, and again, it's possibly seen as an anti-pattern in some instances, but I will sometimes do like is Boolean is child equals, and so there's a pattern where you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is quite useful. Child is parent is adult. Can you tell that you're just used to type the word parent and child together there?
There you
go. Equals, so age is all greater than or equal to 19.
Less than equal to.
Yeah.
But you
and this is
now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
So what you would do is you would then do return. So again, you're doing inverse logic here. So you just return not is child.
Oh God, yeah.
And not is adult.
See, if I was doing that, I would just reverse it and say not child, not adult. I think to match.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, we can do that.
I don't know. It gets you end up turning yourself inside out. Okay, what's the right way to do this?
Well, yeah. I mean, the only reason I would say to use is child and is adult and then have something is what I'm trying to get at is later on in your code you might have it be useful to know these conditions.
Okay.
And reuse them elsewhere. In which case, there's also the other thing you could do if we really wanted to is to always go like this and have static Boolean is child, and you could pass through the age there. And this is where you get into so we can get into very deep conversations about how deep should things be, return. So that's a very simple method that just does one thing. We have another one here, which is private. Oops. So do you see what I mean? You could do this if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And then on
the other hand, you could really annoy people and just return the same expression, but with a ternary operator, true, false, because that would be a waste of time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm just joking. Everybody totally blasts ternary operators for unreadability. I think with some justification, frankly, but
I think it truly depends on what you're using. But this code would work, and this really follows this code follows the kind of separation and don't repeat yourself and all these principles to the max, where it's your function does one thing and one thing alone, and it doesn't do anything else.
Yeah.
Which there's benefits and drawbacks of. However, I think for us, we will all agree that we will end this hole on this beautiful piece of code here. And I suppose the question is do we think we could have actually done this any shorter?
Mm.
I don't think so. I'm trying to think if there's any sort of weird little kind of loops you could do.
I can't think of a way with Apex,
No.
but I feel like there's always like some programming language that has like a less wordy way of doing things than Apex. So maybe with
Yeah.
some languages, but I can't think of.
Yeah, I mean the fact that we have to have a return statement in there is one of the things that like add up. Whereas like JavaScript, you would just have that. You know, what I mean, you'd be able to cut down the number of. What I do think would be interesting is would the following work? I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure this will
yeah,
work.
yeah. That'll work.
I
As far
don't
as if
think.
you're trying to optimize characters.
Yeah,
Mm.
if we are trying to make it as short as possible, I think. I mean that works. I don't know if removing the double ampersand would still not removing. Would that work with that? Is it going to recognize that as valid code?
Probably.
I mean, horrific code, but valid.
Oh, that reminds me. There was somebody, I wanna say it was Roger Mitchell, who created Apex minification.
Oh God.
It was, I mean, talk about horrific, but on the other hand, great code coverage results.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, like your
When
code coverage shoots through the roof. But
right, when your Apex class is basically on one line, boom, you've tested the entire line of code.
yes. I mean, so I think what we could argue here is that this would be the shortest we could think of, unless you kind of. I can't think of any other. I can't think of a way of doing it so it's the other way around. You know, so there'd be one statement where it's
Well, no,
in there.
so, like oops, what did I do? No, I wanna do that. Oop. I mean, you could literally put this on a single line of code,
Yeah.
take out
I
all
think
the white space between, like, all the punctuation. Oops. I mean, if we wanna, like, be showing people stupid Apex, like,
Yeah.
there
Oh,
you
yeah.
go. Like,
I
there's some
mean,
stupid
if we want
Apex.
to do that though, what we could do is I can make this even smaller because we can get rid of that. We can get rid of the sharing declaration.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Says that. So there you go. That's probably the minimum we can get at, whilst we have to have age
Could
in there.
could we uh, yeah. Well, actually, if we weren't as fussed with if we're more concerned with the actual size of the class and trying to minimize size, and we don't care how we're invoking it, we could not make this a static method, and then we just have to instantiate the class and call it instead.
I think the oh yeah, no, it's just a thing. So yeah, if we did that, so yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, so we'll have to change the tests. Do we want to do? Are you just doing? Okay, I see what you're doing now. Oh, yeah.
Oops, sorry, that's gonna not deploy, and I'm gonna have to resave it again. So this should now still run. So yeah, so I mean that's probably as minimal as we can get. I think it'd be a private class if we remove the public declaration, so that won't work.
And so we couldn't call it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's. I mean, and without changing, yeah. If we wanted to get really hacky, I wonder if this would work.
I don't see why not.
Yeah. So yeah, we could change it from an integer to a lot, but I don't think that would work for our like kind of purity of following
Yeah.
the spirit of the game. But yeah. So I think I don't know. We've got it down pretty much there. So how many characters is this? 1, 2, 3. Oh, 1 minute. 85. I realize
Okay.
that there's a column count at the bottom, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
Okay,
85.
85 characters. How
Not
does that
bad.
do against the Like, do they have a rubric for the
They
website?
don't. They don't here. These are just generic challenges that I think we could use as that. But I think I think 85 is a pretty good go for us. Should we
I
choose
would.
another one to do?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Which what do you like the look of, Pete? We could
Uh,
do there's some database ones. There's lists and sets and maps. There's data structures and algorithms. Always give me nightmares.
Let me take a look. I kind of fancy doing like one more, like of a sort of 101 level. So let me poke through and see. Name from email, change time font.
Ooh, what about rock paper scissors?
Oh, where's that? Yeah.
About halfway down.
Oh, yeah.
Should we
Okay,
try that?
so rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, paper beats rock. Implement the method. 2 strings, player 1, player 2. Oh, I see. So each input, right, is a player.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then, okay, interesting.
All right. So I'm just going to copy that there.
Okay.
All right. Oops. So let's create a new class. What should we just call this? Rock paper scissors.
Yeah. Oh, you know why their examples? I bet you why their examples don't have static is because they're running execute anonymous
Yeah.
through their web UI. Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. All right. So there's that. And let me just create another test class for us.
Okay.
Okay. And this is like this feels like one of those ones where there's going to be a little genius answer to go away.
Yeah.
Industries.
Yeah, like how?
So I think what we're trying to say is, let me just kind of create a very basic test here. I'm going to for the purpose of this, I'm just going to make it static, okay? Because
that's fine.
we agree we could make it shorter, but it just makes
no, that's fine. I mean, we've already shown like stupid Apex if we really wanted to optimize down to as few characters as possible. But
yep, that is test. So private static. So we have rock beats.
You have to think about this.
Rock beats scissors. And so we want to return system.assert.r equal. Is it r equal?
What's that?
What's the system.assert method for?
It's not is equal? Oh, r equal is 2.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I still.
No, it is r equal, I think. All right.
Okay.
So we want to do rock paper scissors dot, and then what's the method called? Rock paper scissors. Just gonna change that method to play.
Have you been encountering that in all of the developer docs the search is broken recently?
I posted about it on LinkedIn because I was searching for the exception class and got a list of beat boot. This does not load. This isn't a valid thing.
Awesome.
Which I found, ironic beyond belief.
R equal. You're right.
So rock, scissors, and then R equal. So we expect. Sorry, 1. Is that the correct? Sorry, I'm just bringing that. So if rock beats. So if player 1 wins, then it's 1. If player 2 wins, return 1 if player 1 wins, 2 if player 2 wins, and 0 if player 2 wins. So player 1 wins would be this. So in fact, maybe we want to do this. So player 1 wins. So rock beats scissors should return a 1. We can have another one which is player 2 wins. And that we can have be, let's make that paper and scissors. And we'll have a final one, which is no one wins. Which would be when we have, say, paper and paper. And we could add in all the other test cases, but
Yeah.
you just have to trust that Peter and I are not going to try and fiddle this by putting those three specific use cases in. So, right. What's failed to deploy? Where's the CLI gone? Invalid constructor, nobody wins. Oops. My bad.
Oh, yeah. Too much JavaScript or TypeScript.
And this needs to return. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, too much use of TypeScript telling me I'm wrong before I get anywhere with it. So I think what we need to do here is come up with a way of mapping. So I've got a really, weird idea again that uses maps.
Okay.
So you could do like.
I mean, I was thinking map, but like where I was going was almost more like some kind of object or something like that. Because it's tricky, right? Because you have like the relationship between the values, but then you need to sort of identify like which one actually.
I was gonna
successful.
So paper beats rock beats scissors. Interesting. Okay. I might have a really crazy idea in a minute, but simple idea is we do this. So we do we've got a map and we do some like rock, paper. Well, the zeros would be rock.
Oh, okay.
Paper.
Yeah, I see where you're going.
Yeah. Paper, and scissors.
Yeah.
Which always sounds weird to say. And then you would effectively do, so it would be, the ones would then be rock beating scissors.
Yeah, so if you had rock, scissors, or you can do all the, so if you had like rock, scissors, scissors, paper, rock.
Yep. And then it was scissors, paper.
Scissors, paper.
So those would all be the ones, and then you would do twos. So it'd be, it would be.
Just copy that line actually and rock on.
It'd be the other way around, wouldn't it? So
yeah.
I do that, and then so it'd be 2. Thank you. And that needs to be a 2.
2, sorry, I thought you got that.
That's right. And then we would have cool. And then we would just have return outcomes.get string 1. Oh, sorry, player 1.
Yeah.
Plus player 2. And that, I think, should work. This is a terrible idea, but it's also going to be pretty quick.
It is and it isn't. I mean, there's something sound to like, and it reflects how like we work with Salesforce. Like a data structure oftentimes can be a very good answer to, what is a sort of logical problem, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
I mean, I'm not sure that I'm not trying to like advocate like this is the best way to solve it. I just like it should be something like, in your, if you do have sort of a logic problem like this to solve, if it's in your data already, I guess is a way to put it, then like don't overdo the logic, just go with what the data says.
Yeah. So Capability Snob is joining us again. So hey, welcome to the thing. I like the new Clippy image, Capability Snob. So
Nice.
a nice idea here is handle the equality, handle I win, and everything else you win, which is again a way of kind of nudging
Oh
this
yeah.
down. So, because what I think is a good idea here is we could just return. So this is option number one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we'll keep that, but if we do, so I think we do if player one is equal to player two, then we know that that's a zero, don't we?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that popped in my head a minute ago, which I thought about, is alphabetically, rock beats paper. No, sorry, alphabetically, paper beats rock, and P is before R. Rock beats scissors, and R is before S, and S isn't before P unless you look back. But I'm just wondering, is there anything stupid we could do with? I know it's a mad idea, Pete, but do you know what I mean? Like,
uh
I'm aware that I'm just recording myself
yeah.
sounding like I'm having a absolutely horrific idea on my live stream. But yeah, I'm just trying to
Oh,
think of.
it's a shame that that doesn't follow the pattern because like, you know, it could work.
Yeah.
Is there a way of solving this using Levenshtein distance, I wonder?
No, that would be a crazy way of doing it. I'm just wondering, going back to our map, though, could we? Is there a way of encoding our map though, so that we could figure out what we get out of it? You see what I mean? Because
Yeah, so I'm just sort of like thinking to myself, rock, paper, scissors. Like, I was
is,
thinking
is,
like
is
word
there a way
length
we could?
is
Is there a
another
way we could
one.
use? Yeah, epic. Is there a way we could use the date class to do this?
I mean, so yeah, like that the word length thing, I can't think of I think that would bake my noodle to try and figure out some totally goofy way to do that.
Nah.
Not a number.
Um,
Uh,
I'm just what I'm wondering is there something we could do where we effectively, if you take rock paper and scissors, put them all in as a number, so when it comes through, we actually get kind of like a paper. If you order them alphabetically, Pete, is 1, 2, and 3, right, or
mhm, mhm,
3, 2, and 1 even. Is there
yeah.
a thing we could do where when we get it, we could do one minus the other?
Like just based on the numeric
Yeah, is there
output?
something we could output there? Because if rock, if you're rock and you're beating scissors, so if we did it, let me just. Sorry, I'm actually hard code. I'm gonna possibly get a piece of paper out now and do this because this is. So if I do hit, I'm just gonna here. So rock 3. No, paper equals 3.
Is it dot length or dot size? It's not size.
I can never remember.
I think it's dot size. Let's see. See if I can actually look up the integer class. Integer methods. Oh, I guess it would just be a object. It must be I think it's dot size. It must be. It's not length. Length feels like some other language. So if we have a 4, and then if we have paper dot size, right? That is going to be a 5, and then oh, dude, sorry.
That's all right.
It keeps confusing my cursor for yours.
So that could work. No, that's scissors, metal, paper. So 1 minus and minus 2.
5. Are you trying to like work out subtracted calculations for something?
Yeah.
Are you doing alphabet?
No. So what I'm just thinking is, if we had a map where we had paper as 3, rock as 2, and scissors as 1.
Okay.
And then you did, so paper minus rock would then be 3 minus 2, which is 1, which is actually the answer we want. We would then have group theory intuition says no about using numbers here. Yeah, I'm thinking the same, but I'm wondering now if we did that, right? So minus 2, what's minus 2 mod 3? Is that not 1? Have I made that up?
I'm asking Perplexity what group theory intuition is. That's something I'm not familiar with. Having not taken advanced maths,
where's my actual mouse cursor? There is.
Closure, associativity, identity, and inverses.
Yeah, it's all about what things are contained in which things. Minus 2.
Oh, interesting. I got to share that with my one of my kids is like super into maths, and that sounds like something that might be enjoyed. Yes, and it's not even a posit.
I think this could work.
Okay.
So play on to it otherwise. So if we were to do, and this is a stupid idea. Let's be very, very clear. Like, mad idea I'm trying here, but 1, 2, yeah. Okay. So if we I like the idea of where capability snob's going on the if they're equal, but I'm going to try my crazy math idea real quick. Sorry, capability snob. Rankings? Terrible name. And then we want new map string of insert. So we want paper. I'd be so much better at programming if I could type. Right. We do that, and then we're going to return player 1. So math.modulo player 1 minus rankings.get player 1. If this works, though, because this is then a universal option for us. All right. Absolute bonkers, but let's see. Are we ready for this now?
I'm here for this.
Come on. So the reason.
Okay, explain how this works.
Yes. I am a genius. So The way this works is because it's a cycle, right?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
paper beats rock, rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper. So I've come up with this little terrible number game here at the bottom right, where I've said paper is 3, rock is 2, and scissors is 1. The reason I've said that is that when you take rock from paper, it'll work in. I mean, we can add in any of the test cases; it should work. But I think it should work for whatever. Basically what it's saying is that if paper is bigger than rock, it gives a return of 1. That's great. If rock is bigger than scissors, it gives a return of 1. So if player 1's paper and player 2's rock, and you take them player 2 from player 1, you get 1. If scissors is less than rock, if player 2's rock and player 1's rock and player 2's scissors, you take player 2 from player 1, you get 1 again. And then if you do it the other way around and you take player 1 as scissors and player 2 as paper, and you take 3 from 1, you get -2. When you then take the modulo of those against 3, you are going to get 1, because the modulo is the remainder if you divide it by 3, and the remainder of -2 divided by 3 is 1.
I need to see that written out, but
yeah. So that works, and the reason it should work for all the others as well is because when you do it, the kind of the way the modulo works is with modulo you only get three numbers out, right? Especially with mod 3. With mod 3, you're going to get the number 0, the number 1, and the number 2.
Right.
Okay. It's only ever going to be 0 when A and B are the same because you've taken them away from each other, or it equals 3, which we haven't got the option of it equaling 3 because there is no 0 choice for us.
Right.
So it's either going to be 1 or 2. We have the 2 plus. We're not doing pluses here. Capability snob. We're doing negatives. So it's A minus B. So it should work. So we can write out the other test cases and see what we've got going on. But I think this should work for us. I think I've just come up with a universal rock paper scissors method.
That's brilliant. You heard it here first on this live stream.
I mean, so yeah, let's write out.
I can do the rest of the player 1 wins one,
and I'll do the rest of player 2. Yeah. Player 2 wins and player 2 wins. So player 2 wins. I'm going to call it A and we'll call it B. This is terrible, terrible naming. Let's not do this again in the future.
Okay.
Paper, scissors. So this would be scissors, rock. And this would be paper, scissors, rock, rock, paper. Cool. Okay, cool. I've got player 2's all done.
Yeah.
I'll do the nobody wins ones as well.
Rock, scissors. It's not happy with me typing at the same time as you. So scissors, paper. And then
rock, scissors, and then paper, rock. Cool. Are we good? We need A and B in front of these.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Sorry?
That would help. Duplicate method names.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we ready to see? So there's 9 possible cases here. That's correct. Oh, what have we got? Which ones failed? Assertion actual -1. Expected -2. Okay. Player 1 wins A, which is scissors minus scissors and paper. So scissors beat paper, which is -2. -2 mod 3 should be 1. Salesforce is doing something funny with. Is that right? So, interestingly, if I do This, oh, cool.
Yeah, I
This
was
is,
just wondering that about the negatives. Um,
well,
so
so
do you need
I
to set
just,
it to like an absolute value before doing the
no,
mod?
no. So this is an interesting thing where it's actually showing that Salesforce is calculating mod slightly incorrectly, possibly. So I've just used add three to everything. Mod of minus is weird on some languages, yeah. So I'd need to add three to everything on there. Is what Capability Snob is saying. So yes. So if I do that plus that, if we add three, let's just see, because that could be a similar answer. Yeah, there's a fun thing here. I don't know if anyone's. When I was a student, I used to use Wolfram Alpha a lot. It is brilliant for explaining things. But yeah, it tells us that minus two mod three should be one, but Salesforce is not doing it as expected. So I'll raise that as a bug with the. No, I'm joking. Mitch, there you go. We have worked with the modulo function and have all 9 cases tested.
That's pretty good, actually.
I mean,
Wow.
I will not lie that I have a certain amount of smug satisfaction right now about my stupid little theory. Because I think if we do this, right, I reckon that this gets us. I mean, getting it down to a two-liner like that to play all of those games, I think that's pretty cool.
I'm impressed. Yeah. So there you go, kids. Make sure you do your maths in higher education, unlike me.
I just, yeah, that's a. I mean, that's a kooky little weird outcome. But I also think that this is a perfect example to go back to what we've been talking about all the way through. So I think this is brilliant code, if I do say so myself. But I also think it's terrible code. I'm not sure I would have this in a. I think I would have to have a lot of commentary around this in a code base.
I agree. Like from the sort of theory of your source code is for humans perspective, uh, this would take like that next person coming and trying to understand what you did a fair amount of time to really get what was going on. Yes, comments for sure, but yeah.
So, I mean, just as a sidebar, the Apex doc, kind of adoption by Salesforce. Thoughts,
Yeah.
feelings?
I know some people are really upset that they allowed certain
Yes, yeah.
certain parameters to be in there. And I think, it was interesting to see Mitch kind of like sort
Push
of
back.
defend that. Uh I kind of like I see the point, like if you're adopting it from the way that something is used in a standard way, like you should probably support that. But I also, Pablo's point in that post, which we should probably like link to in
I'll find
this.
it.
Uh Pablo's point wasn't that you shouldn't support it. It was, why is your example showing the thing that we've been trying to teach people to not do? And I'm totally receptive to that point of view.
I am, yeah. So let me be clear. I have also commented on this post. So let me just share it here. Bum, 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 bum. So yeah. So there's the post there. For people if they want to watch on. I read along. So oh my life, you are horrific. Let me just. So I'm just going to delete these and redo it because the way it does the commenting on here is absolutely horrific. Let's do that. Okay. So so first of all, I commented on it because I do think that there is perhaps as Mitch pointed out, a kind of overlap of intention, and I think there was perhaps the intention is not from Salesforce for that to be used in that way.
Mhm.
Um, and I do think that Mitch pushing back on that was correct. I agree with Pablo that like The example should be better. It was in the pre-release notes as like a one sort of pager, so
Right.
a little bit of one side, a little bit of the other.
And the other thing I'll say, I know Pablo. I've worked with him. I've done some content creation with him. Tons of respect for what he does. Sometimes his posts are a little on the dramatic side, and maybe this one was a little bit in that direction too. So
I have worked with Pablo and have written the foreword to his book. I know like Pablo does great stuff, and
yes, yeah,
is there trying to make let me be clear, a very valuable point around managing your code correctly and doing DevOps properly.
yeah.
What I will say is I think that there's some really good use cases I know of for those two was it at version and at since at version and at since I think it was
Version was one for sure.
At since is the other. And I can tell you that those two use cases are really good for like ISV or package partners. I as an ISV in my package have an Apex API that other teams can use when they are working alongside my package.
As in the installed customers org.
Yes, yeah. And so if they want to, documenting a public API is exactly where I'm going with this capability snob. So I have an API that other people can use that is public to anyone who's using it. And my product evolves over time. I add in new channels, I add in new features. I've added in some new features on a particular channel. Like I need to be able to communicate to people what version of my package that was added in. So it's since a particular thing. I need to let you know if I've updated it because people rely upon that and depend upon it. If you are supporting multiple versions of a package at once, that can be very handy. So I definitely see there being some use for it.
Pablo's post was not citing the ISV use case at all. I don't believe.
No, and I think Pablo's post was was correct. Was focused on a good point around people using it since that versioning. And let's be clear, I do not agree with people writing, doing change management in commentary. I don't think that's the right place for it. That is what Git and things are there for. But equally, I also think, on the as someone who has been a consultant, I think it's also not a terrible thing for you to put certain things that are in there in as a consultant. Some of the items that we have on there are the author, the since, the version, and things like that. And whilst having the author on there is probably an anti-pattern from a purely DevOps perspective, and you don't really, it all goes into Git, and it doesn't matter, it's everyone's code and all this. Having the author on there and who changed things last and everything else is quite useful when you're doing kind of bigger consultancy things, so that people can see when changes occur. Like you don't. I have worked in many a large organization where there's multiple teams acting and multiple consultancies in there, and there isn't a change management process. There isn't Git. There isn't that. Partly because the organization doesn't have the ability to spin it up. Partly sometimes due to regulations. Partly because they can't give out credentials to people. I once worked with a bank, and I tried sharing a file with them one day and got told no, because they can't accept files through their firewall because, it's a bank. They did not like files being sent around. They were also using Lotus Notes as well still. So, they had a mix of things. Like, it's, different organizations have these different setups. So I don't think you can be prescriptive as one thing for all. But what I was going to say is here is where I would really add some commentary on there. And I think I in fact, in my comment on that whole thread, I posted a link to a really good blog by Jeff Atwood.
Is that Coding Horror?
Coding Horror, yes, that's Jeff Atwood. And the kind of title of the blog is Code Tells You How, Comments Tell You Why. And I think that's the best thing you can think about is, this code tells you how it gets done, but to learn why is it doing this? I mean, you could just have a comment that said Paul had a brainwave or a brain fart, and it worked. But that's
Yeah.
really kind of the value of comments, because it is still about humans reading it. And yeah, we can all say about how good AI is at guessing things, but AI is limited. It doesn't understand things. It will go on so far.
Yeah. And I've read that blog. I remember reading it and kind of taking that to heart, as
Yeah.
far as when and what to put into comments. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's really important for people to remember as well that, like, with things like AI, have I told you the pencil story?
I don't
So there was
not that I'm recalling anyway.
is it just related to AI? And there was a professor, I think it was somewhere like Stanford or something like that, and was doing this computer science course on like large language models and kind of all of these things. Um, and he held up a pencil at the start of his class, and this might be an apocryphal tale, but I like it. Held up a pencil and he goes, "Hey, put a pair of like googly eyes on it," and he holds up in front of the class and goes, "Hello, my name's," and I think I'm going to change the name because I think it was Peter, and this gets horrific. So he goes, "Hello, my name's Percy the Pencil. Look at me. I'm going to help you with all your work today." And all of the students were there going like, "Haha." And then Percy said, "Do you want to be my friend?" And then he had all the students say, "Yes, Percy, we're your friend." And then he snapped the pencil in front of them, and he said, and his words were, he said, "It's a pencil. It wasn't your friend. It doesn't understand you. It's an inanimate object. You've anthropomorphized it and made it into a thing." And he was like, "LLMs do not understand what you've written. They are very good at guessing what your next thing is based upon statistical inference.
Yeah.
They are not understanding you." And it was one of those things I was like, wow, that's a really kind of mind blowing like example that he did for it. But
That's really good. I mean, it's something that I've been trying to think of the language to describe that since, especially with agents and like the kind of personality
yeah,
that these companies are trying to imbue them with. And um, it's like, yeah, they're really good at simulating like understanding, but that's all it is a simulation. I mean,
yeah.
so it's, yeah.
Isn't
So
that
that's
isn't that
that's
all
really
everything is though?
what's
Is
that?
this not? Isn't this all a simulation though, Pete? Is that not true for? No, I'm
Well,
joking.
so according to some people, but
Yeah. But no,
um,
I think it's again very important for people to add in more commentary here.
yeah,
Like I don't think I've ever I don't think I've ever written a code comment and it been something I've come back and regretted later.
cool. No, yeah, that's good shout.
All right, should we do one more then? We've got about half an hour left. So
I was looking at the ones in sets, just because I think sets are kind of fun, but they seem pretty straightforward. Like union, intersection, related accounts, same elements,
yeah,
duplicate
um,
integers. Yeah.
I was looking at some ones at n, but I know the secret mathy trick for that one.
Which one?
Some 1 to n.
Oh, okay.
There's a very secret. There's a whole story about it and a very clever maths trick, but I won't bore you with that one. Um,
Should we
unless you
do
want.
an S object one? I mean, that would be
Yeah. What have we got
same
here?
parent.
Where are we looking for? Same parent. Implement the method same parent that takes input an opportunity in a contact C and returns true if both the opportunity and the contact are the same parent account.
Oh, so
Carl
we
is a
need we
naughty
need
boy.
we need two accounts and a contact. Oh no, sorry, we need an opportunity account and a contact.
Yes.
Okay.
The joke that so just on this joke here of Carl being a naughty boy. Um, the the number 1 to a very quick side story. The number sum 1 to n. There's a
Mm-hmm.
very apocryphal tale about Carl Friedrich Gauss when he was a
Okay.
schoolboy.
All right.
Was given, and I'll show you real quick. So if you say we have the numbers 1 to 10, we had to add up, right? And what he did was he was given this task by his teacher and was told to add up all those numbers, but it was 1 to 100. And what he realized is if you wrote them down like that and
Mm-hmm.
then wrote them down, I'm going to add some spaces in here. 10, and let's just try and align these so they read up properly. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you wrote them down like that, you had all of the numbers one underneath each other, right? Okay, and you could effectively draw a little
the fact that
line
they're
up.
all 11, is that
Yep, so you get 11, 11, 11. So you get 10 lots of 11, right?
right?
So what he realized is that he had 10 lots of 11, and so he only needed half of that because he had the numbers written twice.
Right.
So 2. And then what he realized, so the more broad formula is if you want to sum up n numbers, you times them by n plus 1, and then you divide it all by 2. And that's a very famous kind of mathematical story and proof. But that's that's the simple answer to that. How do you sum the first n? Sum n numbers as you do n into n plus 1 over 2.
And okay, and that works with any, like it doesn't have to be like an even.
Nope,
You can literally do any number.
Yeah, because it's always going to be divided by, because you're always doubling it.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, there you go.
Cool. No, I had actually seen something on social media. It was like a YouTube short or a reel or something like that, where it was somebody asking that question on the street of a, like, I think it was a math teacher from the US. And like, initially she was like, okay, like trying to add things. It's like, no, this can't be right. This is too long. And then she ended up like reasoning it out. And so, yeah, it's a cool trick. Very cool. But they
Cool.
didn't actually write out the formula. So like, I appreciate like the actual formula itself.
No, it's one of the apocryphal tales of one of the smartest people that ever lived on the planet doing that. So we have this here. We have this same parent. I think this is going to actually be pretty easy. Takes an opportunity to contact, returns true if they have the same parent account.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I just sort of seemed interesting. Like I don't know. I wasn't looking for necessarily anything hard, but
No.
open to some other things too. Like there's some data structure ones
Yeah, what
that
have we got here?
that
Because
look a
I
little bit
think,
more advanced.
well, let me just be clear. The reason I think this one's easy is you're just returning contact c.id equals c.account ID equals op.account ID. Double equals. It's just a Boolean return value.
C.account ID
And then,
equals, yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
totally.
that's presuming that they've passed it in with the correct, thing.
Right.
But yeah. Let's have a look at buy low and sell high.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay. Oh, this looks interesting. Okay, I think I've got some sort of ideas as to how we could go about this. What are you thinking, Pete?
Still taking it in. Let's see. Oh, it's interesting. He's even giving a big O notation.
Yeah.
That's funny. Maximum price.
Hmm. I mean, is there a way we can do something clever again?
Yeah, I mean, I'm let's take a crack at it. I think I'm still digesting it. Again, that like I'm just slow with math. So yeah, let's go for it.
Let's create a class called buyer.
That's a 500 pointer. Look at that.
Yeah. So buyer, and we'll call this dot. So public static void. Public static is an integer. Oops, max profit, and it takes in a list of integers. Typing Paul. I just found a typo on the website. I started typing. Yeah. Oh no. Cool. So, and then we're going to return. You see, return 0 for now. And I'll write the test. And what I'm going to do with the test class is just copy his two examples.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah. Whoever's got the industry's digital lending annotation, I want to have a word. So that's that. So you can't use that annotation, can you, in Apex?
I don't know.
Don't think so.
Which one?
Just a square bracket annotation.
Oh, you have to do new. You have to do new list with square brackets. I think doesn't that work?
An opening and closing square bracket. Yes, I think you have to do new
list integer square bracket. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Oh, 1 minute. No, it's new integer square brackets. Is that correct? Honestly, I've forgotten so many things about.
Or is it in curly brackets? I think maybe it's curly brackets. New list integer curly brackets. I swear there's a way to just like declare your.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
I'm just looking.
I think you're right. I think it's new integer. I think it's that, and then that. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I don't know why the curly brackets. Oh, really? New integer square brackets.
That then defines the list. You could do it. You could just do list integer here.
Okay, yeah, it does work.
I'm going to do that just because I'm lazy.
Okay. That's fine.
So the r equal, and then we're expecting 6, and our input is buyer dot max profit prices. Cool. Right. Test case 2, and my numbers are 764321. Cool, and that should be 0. Whoops. Needs to be saved as well. Cool. Right. So we got our list of prices, and what we're saying is if we want to figure out what the biggest difference is between one day and a later day.
The thing I think partly why I'm a bit puzzled by this is I'm getting a bit caught up in the start price. Like, where do we start? Does that make sense?
You can start at any point.
Or is the first value, is that the start price? Is that what they're saying?
Your profit is possible to return to the best. So you want to try and find the best start price and the best end price. So here, for example, you're the best price. So if you buy at 10, you're not going to make any profit, right?
Right.
So the best day to buy is here, where the price is low.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And yeah. So in theory, there are kind of a couple of ways we could do this. Is that you could look for the lowest day and then the highest following day.
Mm-hmm.
And that should then get you the biggest difference. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one way of doing it. Or you could go through and say, like, I think that's the only way I can think of doing it.
So
like
buy is basically setting
selling the start price.
Yeah, setting a variable to, but then setting a variable to whatever the value is that like your buy is going to be. So let's say 2.
Yeah.
And then the next day, we could sell, in which case, yeah, I don't know. I think the whole mechanics of this, I think, have me a little bit twisted up. So
okay. So what we're trying to say is what we're trying to do is figure out what's the most amount of money someone could have made in this period.
Right.
So if they bought on a Monday, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right?
They make nothing.
If they bought on Monday, they're always going to lose money, and we could work that out by going A minus B, 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 and figuring out, or B minus A rather than figuring out when, if any of those are positive, right? And then we could go through from Tuesday and say Wednesday minus Tuesday, Thursday minus Tuesday, Friday minus Tuesday, Saturday minus Tuesday, and go through the entire list and say which one of these is the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? And then we would just have a big list of numbers. We effectively say this is the maximum profit. I think the problem with that, though, is that is, as this scales to say if you got 100,000 items in the list, right? That becomes a lot of processing because you're doing each one. You see what I mean?
Okay, yeah. So now I'm getting. So there's two things I think I was overthinking it. There's two things, or I was getting too caught up in the whole like sell buy thing. All we're looking at is in the sequence of numbers. What's the difference? Like, what's the highest difference we can achieve between any single number and any number that falls after it in the order?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think my theory would be that we would choose the lowest number and then choose the biggest number that follows it, and that should be correct. Because if there was a lower number preceding it, so because what I'm trying to figure out is I'm just trying to think about if there's an edge case here. So if we imagine that, so let's just say we've got the numbers that we had in our test here, right? The biggest difference we can see is between that one and that one, and 2 happens to be our lowest number when we start it. If, however, we had something like,
I have an idea actually.
Go on.
Because I think, I mean, so first off, we need to know the lowest number and what's its index.
Yeah.
Then we need to know what's the highest number of any number whose index is greater than that first index.
Yep.
And then we basically come up with the difference between those, right?
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that's where I was going with it. I suppose what I'm
Okay.
trying to figure out is what if we had the situation where we had
Readers
no, no,
catching on. So
no, it's all right. What if? But what I suppose what if we had the situation like this where we have two,
yeah.
and then now I think I'm. Or if we had, let me just think. If we had something like 13,
hmm
and then we had 64. Okay, the difference there is much bigger than the difference between 2 and 8, but 2 is a much lower number than 13.
hmm
So if we got just
Say
the
that one more
lowest,
time. Sorry. Say that one more
so
time.
so with the theory we were just going down is if we get the
Yeah.
lowest number,
Yeah.
it would be 2,
hmm
and then we get the biggest number after that, it's 8, and the
Right.
difference between 2 and 8 is 6.
Right.
However, we have 13 here, and we have
Uh,
64, and the difference between 13 and 64 will be much bigger.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So I'm trying to think if there's a way we can kind of work out that difference that kind of gives us a decent value.
Are we I wonder if what's it called? What's the MuleSoft language?
Oh, like the transform one, yeah.
Yeah. That's
Data
like
weave.
it's supposed to be, yeah, DataWeave is supposed to be all about this kind of stuff, right? Like sort of
Yeah.
like handle like operations like this.
Well, I'm wondering if there's a clever way, if there's anything clever we could do again, because like this feels like we've got a list of numbers here, right?
mhm.
I mean, and obviously, like one of the things that is said here is it should be done in order of n. Okay, so that means that we can't have it go like, and I mean, we can't have it scale dramatically as it comes like
Right.
10,000.
We can't like stop at each index and scan every the difference between it and every other number in the
Yeah,
in the list, or we're going to be like, uh yeah, we're not going to be scaling the way that they're saying.
no.
Um
Because part of me would be tempted, be tempted to do something like try and see if we can represent it like that, and then come up with the differences really in kind of this half
oh,
here.
I see. Okay.
So like the difference there would be 0. Like this wouldn't matter, but we do something like, whoops, this would be 3. This would then be 54, which is much bigger than the number I had anyway. But but like,
Mhm.
and then you'd be like -8, and yada yada yada, and so we effectively create this kind of 2-dimensional array of things. But doing this is not, as we go for like a bigger number, this is going to end up being, I mean, it's going to scale fairly linearly, but not dramatically, because we're only going to fill in kind of the top right.
Well, so I was just thinking, okay, like what are the list methods? Like are there any that help? And I don't think there really are.
We've only got like 5 or so minutes left. Do you want
Yeah.
to? Should we look at the 2 hints that they give us and see if there's anything that pops out there and see
Yeah,
it?
sure. Yeah.
So hint number 1 is find a way to track the current lowest price. Hint number 2: if there's a new lowest price, you only need to calculate from that point forward. This is wrong. Then I
Right.
think I think my example has found a bug in this.
Yeah, I mean, like I agree. Like I definitely agree.
Well, there we go. So, in fact, I'm not sure this is possible in ON time.
Yeah, like you again, it's sort of a. I mean, you could solve it again with kind of a like a weird data representation. I mean, they don't do vectors and vector.
No, you have to do it
Map
as
in Apex.
multi-dimensional. You have to basically do it as a map on a multi-dimensional.
Yeah, which like oh, sort of side note, there's an interesting Java so latest release of Java has a new feature that allows you to call out to non-Java runtimes, which creates the possibility for Java to do things like call Python, which are sort of like, yeah, anyway. So maybe Apex one day could actually call Python, is what I was thinking.
It will, well, soon I think you'll be able to in Data Cloud, won't you?
Oh, maybe.
There's a bring your own code in Data Cloud. So you'll be able to,
really?
yeah,
Seen
bring your
that.
own code in Data Cloud. So, cool. So I tell you
Okay.
what, well, I think that this is going to be one where we'd have to do it. In Apex, you can't do multi-dimensional lists, but you can do a list of lists, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So what you would do is you would have a list of list of list of list of integers.
There's only
And
you
that,
can only do that up to so many though.
you can, but I mean, how many people are working with 19-dimensional arrays or whatever it is in Apex?
Yeah. No, it's just not. It's not what
So
you
yeah,
do.
I think so I think that yeah, so this one we would, my guess would be is we would come up with some sort of cross array like this, where we would then have all the differences, and then you would basically find the maximum.
Yeah, I bet you like one of the Python libraries, like scikit-learn or something like that, has it.
Yeah.
It just has like a function that'll just do this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, crazy. So I mean, well, there you go. That's that was some code golf. So thank you everyone for coming along and watching Peter and I write some strange, very good, very bad, and in between Apex code. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
that was a lot
That
of fun actually. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, we should. I think we could come up with a good set of interesting little puzzles for things like that. So in a couple of weeks' time is it not Dreamforce in 2 weeks' time?
Dreamforce is in 2 weeks' time. Next week, week after. It's like a little more than 2 weeks. It's yeah. So next week, yeah. So it's the 12th. 13th and 14th, 13th, 14th, 15th. It's one of those 3 days
Yeah, so
in
it's
the middle of
just
the
over
week.
2 weeks. So yeah, sorry, just for anyone who is wanting to have a go at any of those, have a look at apexsandbox.io. I've just posted a link.
Yeah, and well done to the folks who thought that up and who've been contributing. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, no, it's a cool piece. I'll see if I can find somewhere to give any feedback on that, because I'd love to. I don't want to love to tell them that I found a problem with their thing, but I'd love to say, hey, I think I found an edge case in this. But more importantly, like to see if they, because I'd like to be able to do this in a Scratchable.
Going back to our discussion this
Yes.
morning or earlier about giving gracious feedback, of course.
Yes. Yeah. I found an error.
You suck.
No, I would never do that. More to say, I think we just need to update some of the wording.
Yeah, no, good catch too.
So in a couple of weeks though, we'll probably do a stream. Are you off to Dreamforce?
Or? I am off to Dreamforce. I got.
Oh well, are you going to be here in a couple of weeks? It's probably a great question.
No, I will not.
So we will probably skip until post Dreamforce when we can do a bit of a debrief, see what Pete learned. I imagine that the word agent will be in there somewhere.
Sure, that's good shout. Yeah, actually, so in a couple of weeks' time, we could talk about it. I will be. Yeah, I might be in transit because I'll be in California already. So
okay. We'll see how we go. So if we can, we will. If we can't, then we'll wait another couple of weeks or figure something out afterwards. Yeah, I hope you. The thing we are planning to do is we have a couple of ideas. So one is we were looking at some sort of test data Fluent API, which would be quite cool, I think, to play with. We obviously have the CSS battles we can give a go at some point. I found a new test generation library was sent to me earlier to play around with as well, like a CLI make fake data one we could look at. And
there are a couple of other like tools and stuff we've talked about. Like we have talked about, I think, Nebula Logger, like doing some stuff with that. And we've talked, what was the other? I feel like there's another one we were thinking.
SFDX Hardis.
Hardis, yes, of course.
So they just released a new UI as well for that, which is super.
Yeah.
So I might even see if we can get someone like Nicola along to.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, well, if we see you in 2 weeks, we'll see you in 2 weeks. If not, have a great Dreamforce, Pete, and thank you again, everyone, for coming and joining us. If you aren't subscribed, please think about doing so to hear when the next one of these will be. If you have any ideas for things you'd like to see, let us know in the comments below. And as ever, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.